Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, and I welcome both you and your ears to an episode of Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. In case you're wondering who Angie is, I'm Angie, and I'm super stoked to spend some time sharing with y'all some of my experiences and thoughts on living, loving, music, and space travel, or spiritual experiences as I often refer to as space travel. A rather broad spectrum, right? Well, my hope is to always share something that resonates with, intrigues, excites, or perhaps inspires you. On that note, I invite you to sit back, buckle up, and take a little trip out into the cosmos with me. Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, coming to you with episode number 41 of my podcast, Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. And this is kind of a special episode for me. It has officially been over a year since I launched my first episode, the launching of the podcast out into cyberspace, putting myself out there for the world to hear and get to know. It was officially 1 year on February 27th. I'm not sure what time I released it, but I do know that on 2/27/22, Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel was officially out there and available for your listening pleasure. What a fucking journey it's been. It's been a year. And this last week or so, I have been thinking about putting this episode out and hemming and hawing and kind of feeling nervous and a little insecure. So even though a ton of growth has taken place within me, I still have work to be done. I still find that at times it is very challenging to sit down and press record. But more than anything, I have been reflecting on what a year it's been. When I got here to North Carolina, as I have shared, I arrived not wanting to be here. This was not the way my life was supposed to be playing out. I had left a place that I really enjoyed living. Friends, family, work, fellowship, all that stuff. And I was not hip to being in North Carolina, other than the fact that my parents were here and I'm incredibly grateful for them, profoundly grateful for their love and acceptance and their willingness to invite myself and my two furry babes into their home. But otherwise, this was not the life I was supposed to be living. In 1 year, and I'll fill in a lot of space in between, 1 year has me not necessarily feeling like this is the life I would have put together for myself, but life is really, it's pretty wonderful. I was just chatting with my dear friend Jamie and reflecting on what it was like when I first got here and how, in all honesty, I am really living the life that I wanted. I can put out and present to the universe or to whatever and say, this is how I would like life to look. I would like to be in this place. I would like things to be this way. Before coming here, before the marriage ended, before things became complete and finished, I had been thinking about the fact that I wanted to be near the beach. I wanted to be with my parents, closer here, some warmer weather. Perhaps I would go back and forth. Well, I ended up here at the beach, closer to my parents. But it just didn't look exactly the way I had designed it in my head. That's life. What a place of acceptance I've made it to. And even being able to look at that and say, holy crap, I kind of got what I asked for. Be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it in its own weird design. As of late, I've actually got some stuff going on in my life where I had said that, okay, now that I'm here in North Carolina and this is the way my life is playing out, I would actually like to maybe spend 3 months a year in Colorado, June, July, and August. It is super hot here in the South for June, July, and August. And I thought maybe I'll go back and work. Well, I had been sort of putting some feelers out, requesting or seeing if anyone needed perhaps a house sitter or had a place for me to stay, me and my dogs. It has not played out that way, but what is happening is I am actually going back to Colorado for the month of June. I'm going to pick up shifts, hopefully at the diner, Red Maple and Pickled, and work my ass off for the month. I have this open-ended ticket. I bought a one-way ticket just in case something happens back here at home and I need to come back sooner. But so that's what I'm doing for June. And then I have this opportunity, should things play out the way they're scheduled to play out now, that I'm going to go back in October and pick up shifts at the diner for a friend so her and her husband can go raft the Grand Canyon. Ian and April, living a dream for sure. So that's 2 months in Colorado. And then more recently, I reached out to my dear friend Cynthia, who I talked about on my first episode. She opened up a small batch bakery and coffee shop in Schuylerville, New York, sort of outside of Saratoga Springs, upstate New York. It's called the Village Tart. I still, to this day, I absolutely love the name of it. And she is a badass baker. I grew up with this wonderful woman and really was never aware of her baking skills. Check her out on Facebook, The Village Tart. If you happen to be in that area, go to The Village Tart. Her stuff looks delectable. Well, I reached out to her. Do you need any help? And she invited me to come and stay and work with her and then possibly pick up some outside catering shifts and stuff. So I'm going back to New York in August. I feel like I'm going on tour. June, August, and October. That's 3 months that I'm going to be out working. That is sort of exactly what I wanted. It just doesn't look the way I initially hoped it would, expected it would, thought it would. But I'm pretty positive it's going to be better than anything I could have put together. But what I'm thinking about wanting the theme of this episode to be is kind of focused on reflection, a trip around the sun. Hindsight is 2020 as I look back and take my time to see how things have played out and look at them with truth and honesty. I can't help but be grateful for how my life is turning out. So in this last year, a lot has happened. This podcast has been life-changing for me. This process of, I'll call it my audio diary. A new friend was just starting to listen to some of my episodes, and he actually mentioned, and he said it sounded like he was listening to my diary. And in truth, that's kind of what it is. It's a very cathartic process for me, a very authentic process of self-expression. It is a courageous act for me to put it out to the world. What's the purpose behind it? I might get into that a little bit deeper later, but I like to think that my sharing will resonate with somebody. I have been through a lot. Divorce, house sale, moving, letting go of, as I mentioned, fellowship, work. So much stuff changed for me. I mean, I moved from the Rocky Mountains to the Atlantic coast. A lot of change. Not change that I really wanted, and yet I made it through. I did it all without picking up a drink. No recreational drug use. And for this gal on a journey of recovery and self-discovery, that's miraculous. So I definitely long to connect with others out there who might be going through stuff of their own and think that they can't make it or are trying to find purpose in the pain, the challenges. I did not like a lot of the stuff that I was going through while I was going through it. Absolutely not, especially before I left Colorado. But that's not so much what this episode's about. This is really the last year since launching the episode or launching this podcast. But since I started recording and sitting down, it's just been life-changing for me. I have been continuing to put one foot in front of the other on a path of growth and change and exploring new ideas and new opportunities, and all of that stuff can be intensely uncomfortable. So I am here to just say out loud, please, anybody who is sitting at their desk and waiting to press record, just do it. If you're thinking of taking a dance class or going to meditation, do it. Don't miss out on it. Life is going to pass us by. It will eventually be over, this earthly experience. And who wants to be sitting there wishing, saying, I wish I had done this or that, or I'm really glad that I didn't take a risk or didn't reach out. I'm thinking, once again, this is sort of tied into the idea of what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. I was pretty nervous, definitely, in recording my first episodes. I did go back and I've been trying to re-listen to my whole quote catalog, but I got up to episode 4 and I have to say it was actually really challenging. When I listened to the first few, I feel like I heard all the ums, likes, and you knows, so, and filler words and all. It was hard for me to ignore that stuff. I wanted to go back and edit it out, but I found that there were times within the dialogue where I would say, oh, I'm just going to release this episode. My dear friend Alex had told me in the beginning, just put it out there and release it. So I can't go back and edit it. And that's not what this is about. It's not about being perfect. This has been an incredible process of growth for me. I do all my own editing, so I've gotten better at that. This podcasting journey, I've learned a lot. I learned how to use the Audacity app. I by no means know all of the tricks and tips and that kind of stuff, but I have taught myself. And when I went to PodFest, I got to talk to some people about it, and I asked them about a few tricks and tips. It was like putting myself through school a little bit. And I do believe further on episodes, I know that I've gotten much better at editing. That's not to say that I don't use the filler words. Perhaps you just don't hear them because I take them out. But I've also learned to slow down in my recording process and think about what I'm saying. I like to think I'm not as nervous, or I don't sound as ill-prepared. So much has happened in this last year. It's not often that I really will sit back and say, okay, what was this last year about? So I'm really grateful to have a kind of like a starting point. February 27th was a whole new chapter of my life. Sitting back and reflecting, I went to see a therapist. I went to my ketamine clinic for the first time. We give huge props to Future Psych Ketamine Clinic in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I love them. They have been very helpful in allowing me to continue my medicinal process of ketamine infusions. I'm very much looking forward to going back to Colorado and checking in with Mandy Glassmeyer from High Country Wellness and Infusion. That's been a life-changing, life-saving addition to my mental health. That happened in this last year, and I've been able to share about it and hopefully expose people to some new options. My disclaimer always, I'm not a doctor, a psychologist, a nurse practitioner. I don't pretend to know what's best for you by any means. I always heavily suggest please go talk to your doctor, psychologist, nurse practitioner, psychiatrist, whatever it is, your family members. But this has been a platform for me to be open about my own experience with mental illness and depression, trauma, PTSD, the stuff that kept me in the dark for a very long time. And I don't want to have to be quiet about the possibilities for assistance in changing your life via taking care of your mental health in different ways. So again, this podcast has been a definite process of authentic self-expression, which is allowing me this opportunity for self-reflection. And I did look up self-expression and how important it is. This article mentioned how important it is. It gives a bunch of, I'll include it in my show notes, but this particular article talks about what happens, what I get to do when I self-reflect and what the purpose is behind it. It does say, what is self-reflection? And there are a couple different definitions for it. They don't all resonate with me, but the examination or observation of one's own mental and emotional processes. I really like that one. I feel like that one resonates the most for me, thinking about what my journey has been like, what this last year has done for me. Another definition is contemplation of one's own thoughts, feelings, and sensations, self-examination. It's been a wild ride, a wild and wonderful ride. Even though I was very nervous and hesitant, maybe I just have stage fright to sit down and do this, I'm in such a different space than I was a year ago. The self-reflection allows me to increase inner peace. I think maybe it's because I'm present in the moment. A quote from Wayne Dyer, when your higher self is present, it always promotes peace. Sitting back and thinking about my journey and understanding that I'm just another bozo on the bus here, walking this earthly experience to the best of my ability and being plugged into that fact. That's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to live the healthiest life that I can, understanding that I am imperfect and just longing to be perhaps better than I was yesterday. I like the last one, and then I'm going to just include it so you can read it yourself, but self-reflection allows me to develop genuine self-confidence. A little blurb from it, in quotes, that is so true. And for me, self-reflection has helped me to grow genuine self-confidence. How? When I self-reflect, I'm honest, so I know what's going on inside me. Knowing this helps me make informed choices throughout the day. End quote. And it's hard for me to not gain confidence when I reflect on what it was like when I got here and what it's like now. I have made it through some dark times. I'm still continuing to grow and let go. I'm still continuing to let go of my ex-husband and my ideas of how I thought my life was going to play out. I'm happy for him. He is in a relationship. They seem to really enjoy each other, and I'm happy for them, honestly. But that doesn't mean that I'm still not letting go of the way I thought things were going to be. And I think that's just healthy. I'm not shoving it down and telling myself that I should be over it. But when I got here, I was pretty sad and pretty mad. My desires have definitely changed as I've made moving forward my focus. I'm no longer pretty sad or mad about my past. In so many ways, I really am at peace with so much. I love being able to see my own growth. And without taking the time for self-reflection, that's impossible. A friend of mine, actually my old therapist, mentioned to me at one point and said it was important that I take the time to reflect on my growth. Not yesterday, not last week, but when I started on my journey. And so I do often go back. I'm going to hit, God willing, 21 years without a drink this June. It's actually the day that I leave for Colorado. June 6th will be 21 years since I've had a drink. July 5th will be 5 years with no weed. And it's been 15 years plus, probably no recreational drugs also. But what a wonderful and wild ride. So I'll go back often and reflect on the beginning of my journey of recovery, which definitely was also the beginning of my journey of self-discovery. I can't do much when I'm blotto. Now, going back and looking at what's taken place since last February, just in 1 year, holy crap. I have gone to see so much music. I went to New Orleans for Jazz Fest. I went to see Dave Matthews Band. I got to see Fish, Widespread Panic. I went to see a ton of music. I got to see Brit Floyd. I went to the Greenfield Lake Amphitheater, the Live Oak Bake Pavilion. Just thinking about Jazz Fest, for anyone who is thinking about taking an adventure, going and taking a trip by yourself, I went by myself. It was life-changing, liberating, empowering, all kinds of stuff. I've continued to immerse myself on my spiritual journey. I've read all kinds of books. My nuclear family was reunited. Mom, dad, brother, me. What an incredible gift that could just be overlooked and minimized. But I'm not into minimizing anymore. I don't want to over dramatize things either, but I'm not going to minimize the amazing stuff. I became Angie Shy again. I went through the process, the arduous, tedious, annoying process of getting my maiden name back. I could have left it. I understand why people keep their maiden name, if not for the children or whatever the reasoning is, but it was a pain in the ass. Paperwork and having to go to the Social Security office, all that stuff. But I'm Angie Shy again. I regained an identity that's important to me. It was a process that I'm incredibly proud of myself for finishing and making important enough to go through the tedious bullshit stuff. I've had dentist visits, doctor visits, vet visits. I have definitely continued to grow my spiritual life. I've read a ton of books. Y'all hear about Michael Singer. I'm letting go and trying to allow my samskaras to heal, no longer pressing down the bad feelings or holding on to the good feelings. Things have changed so much that I'm not so pissed off about the weather or the person driving in front of me. No shit. And that's the truth. And that's the low-hanging fruit that he'll talk about. There's your practice. You want to get okay with life being as it is. Use those two things to be okay with, because I can't change either of them. And in truth, I find myself, I still get pissed off at people. Of course, somebody's driving too slow sometimes, or the weather isn't the way I like. But the majority, things have changed in 1 year of my practicing, trying to make an honest effort at feeling more at peace on a regular and consistent basis. It's been a wonderful ride, a wonderful opportunity. I thank everybody for listening. My hope through all of this is to inspire somebody to get on board with getting plugged in to life. I was talking with a friend of mine. She was talking about dating and how she was feeling vulnerable and what a scary experience it could be to get back out there and expose yourself to rejection, pain and sorrow from loss, things not going your way. I'm her cheerleader for taking on the challenge, getting into the experience, allowing herself to be vulnerable. Because to close off your heart for fear of maybe what happened in the past, there's no living in that. I surely don't want to close myself off to a shared life with somebody else because of my fear of what took place with Sean and I. I'm incredibly grateful for a good portion of the life Sean and I had. I don't say his name very often, but I love him and I love the life that we had together. We shared even the bad times. I'm pretty sure we both grew in it some way, whether it led him to where he is now, it led me to where I am now. I love the dogs that we shared together. I love all of that. And I don't want to be afraid of trying again. Where that brings me to at this point is kind of the culmination of the growth. Through everything that I've been through, I realize one of the great things that I've learned, or not learned, but where I've come to, is I am getting so much better at letting go of my little plans and designs. And I'm not so freaked out about making plans. I'm actually making some plans with hope rather than dread. I'm making these plans to go to New York and Colorado with the understanding that the universe has its own plan, I do believe. And I'm going to roll with it, open-minded. I'm going to close this episode out with some questions from my favorite app, which is Poddecks. Yep, great conversation starters, lots of questions, all kinds of different topics. Because this has been a reflection on last year, the question is, what do you enjoy reading about? I enjoy reading about spiritual growth. I do. I mean, I enjoy reading. I enjoy listening to audiobooks. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I love Stephen King. His stuff is about good and evil and, the hero's journey. But I listened to a lot of Michael Singer. I listened to I've started listening to The Myth of Normal by Gabor Mate. I listened to The Body Keeps the Score. I am super jazzed and into anything that provides me information to grow through my stuff, to get over my stuff, to deal with my stuff when we all have stuff. Label it trauma, PTSD, depression, whatever it is, perfectionism, whatever the label is we want to put on it. We all have stuff, and I don't want my stuff. I want to grow through it and move past it and really get to the meat of living this earthly experience. So those are a lot of the things that I enjoy reading about. Second question, what could you do all day and not consider it a waste of time? That's an easy, this is sort of a get to know Angie a little bit more, I suppose. I could snowboard and walk the beach. Those two things I could do and have done all day, or at least maybe 8 hours of the day, and not feel like I was wasting time. This is my first season without being on the hill. I have not been able to snowboard this season. Yeah, I am missing it. I love putting my snowboard clothes on. I like being out in the elements. I like to get lost in the trees a little bit. Nothing better than deep powder. Just being out in the fresh air, snowy crystals falling out of the sky. I could do it all day, and I have done it all day, and I'm grateful for every day that I spent on the mountain. And the beach, I just got to the beach again the other day, grounded myself in the sand, listened to the ocean, put my feet in the chilly water, which became warm after not too long, looked for shark teeth, of which I didn't find any, but I found plenty of other beautiful shells. And it was wonderful. The breeze was blowing. The weather was spectacular. It was a very warm day. Might have been 80 degrees here in North Carolina. There was no guilt or shame about it. We only stayed for actually a couple hours, but I have definitely spent hours walking the beach. The negative ions are wonderful from the splashing waves. I don't think there's anything wrong with hanging out with Mother Nature. I think that's what I'm really supposed to be doing. So go connect yourself to the planet, or just do whatever it is that makes you feel good, that healthy good. Next question, think back to a time that you felt transformed. That time is now. I'm feeling transformed. Really, since last year, how far I've come, the things that I'm doing, the way I'm progressing, the plans that I'm making, the peace that I'm feeling, the letting go that I'm continuing to embrace. I have been transformed. I can continue to have profound personality changes. I am really moving forward and accepting life to the best of my ability as it is, not as I want it to be. I say that today. Maybe I'll feel differently tomorrow, but I'm honestly in a place where I'm really grateful to be alive. I am. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to live the earthly experience and take in all that it has to offer. I know that there are going to be challenges. I've already been through some pretty heavy challenges for me. And so I get to just stay in today. Right now, today is pretty darn good. This moment now is pretty darn good. So how did you change and why? I think I've spoken about all of that stuff. I changed. Why? Because I had no choice. Well, I do have a choice. I could stay miserable. I could hold on to the past, but that's misery. Let go or be dragged. Is that what they say? And I don't want to be dragged. My suggestion or my invitation is for anybody out there listening to think about this stuff. Think about times that you were transformed. Plug into those moments when life changed and you rolled with it and grew from it. Allow yourself to feel the gratitude for all that you've accomplished. And perhaps if you have not been accomplishing the things you'd like to, or feeling as though you are off track and not living an authentic life, then take the time, get on board, make a different choice, plug yourself into the spiritual world. The material world is not going anywhere. It's there, and it's easy to get lost in. Plug yourself in and get busy living authentically, because there's nothing like it. This next question, what's a quote that inspires you and why? And I have definitely mentioned this quote before, and it might take me a minute to find it, but it is a Ram Dass quote. So it's a Ram Dass quote from his book, Be Here Now, I do believe. And it says, I can do nothing for you but work on myself. You can do nothing for me but work on yourself. I find that to be incredibly inspiring, and the reason being that it brings about profound change. When I'm working on Angie, taking the focus off of you, putting it on me to be a better Angie, that's the best thing I can do for anybody. And that's the best thing you can do for me. If we were all just working on ourselves and focusing less on what perhaps we thought other people should be doing, that's it. That, I think, is the root of the problem of the world. Everyone sort of thinking you should be doing what I think you should be doing. And instead of focusing on myself, I'm going to focus on the fact that you're not doing what I think you should be doing to make me feel better. And it's a mess. It's not easy to look at oneself. I know for me, it has not been easy to look at myself. At least it wasn't in the beginning. I find great relief in the ability to do it now, to honestly look at myself and chuckle at the fact that I'm human and imperfect and make mistakes and piss people off. And I'm just a garden variety human living the earthly experience. It was not easy in the beginning, but it has been so worth it. So for anyone who hasn't taken that inner journey of personal growth, I highly suggest and invite you to do it. It makes life so much more peaceful. Really. When I stop focusing on others, all of a sudden I'm now living Angie's life, doing things that are exciting, fulfilling, and healing. Yeah, that's the quote that inspires me, and that's why. Next question. What are some challenges, difficulties, and hardships you've overcome or are working to overcome? I have been talking about it for a year. You've all heard of it. If you haven't heard about my challenges and difficulties and the hardships that I have overcome or am working to overcome, then I say, please go back and listen to my earlier episodes. There are 40 that came before this one. So I will close things out with this. Thank you for listening. For everybody who has put in a minute or perhaps listened to full episodes. And I know that there are those out there who are listening to full episodes, and I'm profoundly grateful for you. I'm hoping that something I've been through can be helpful. I'm hoping that I can let people know, let's say you happen to be somebody just embarking on a journey of recovery, looking to put down the drink, the drug, whatever it is, the person, the food, the relationship, all of it can fall under the same category in relation to trying to put something down. It is possible. It's very possible, and it is so worth making those changes. This version of me is the best Angie that there is. And a lot of people might not be super hip to that, but I'm aware of where I've come from. There was a time long before my marriage was ending when I was a mess. I held a job, unbelievably. I wouldn't call myself a functioning anything for the most part, but I did. I was able to hold a job. I was able to work, but I saved no money. My personal life was tragic and horrifying. Some people would call it a dumpster fire, maybe. I was a mess. It was awful. To think that I have grown into this person that I am today. I progressively got worse for a while, but since acknowledging, really through desperation, I didn't just decide one day and say, I'm going to stop doing these things because I'm not having fun anymore. That wasn't it. I was desperate. I suffered loss. I was frightened and confused and overwhelmed and all of those things, and finally decided to do what scared me the most, put down the things that helped me to not feel. Since that point, it has not been a linear path. It's been a messy journey of growth, which is my life. And today, I am so grateful for this Angie that I am. I went to see my therapist. I was sharing with him kind of my fear about this, quote, unconventional work life that I'm living. I'm about to fly thousands of miles to go work for a couple months. What is that about? That's not the way you're supposed to do it. And he was very validating from the perspective of, Angie, this is your life and what works for you. I am excited. I'm going to go work my ass off for a few months and then come back here and continue to do this stuff. Podcast, eBay business. I have these 2 wonderful parents who are going to watch my furry babes for me. I'm very sad to think of leaving them, but I have this opportunity and I'm going to take it. I'm not taking advantage of anything. I am living an authentic life, and I hope the same for all of you. I'm now officially going to close this episode out with, I want to give all of my love to a dear friend in Colorado. Her and her family recently suffered a great loss, and I just want them to know that I'm thinking of them and sending endless prayers for peace and relief. Stacy and Chuck, my love goes out to you. My heart goes out to you. You are loved and you are not alone. And anyone else out there who's listening, I would greatly appreciate if you would send love out to them and their 2 boys. On that note, please go out and embrace this earthly experience. Hug your family members. Check in with Mother Earth. Love on your furry babes. Get on an authentic path and embrace life. Thanks for listening. Bye. So we've reached the end of today's episode. Thanks so very much for listening. It's now time to reconnect to planet Earth and all that comes with living on the blue ball. I'd love to hear your ideas for future episode topics, along with any and all positive and or constructive feedback. Please feel free to contact me at ashysbadass@gmail.com. Thanks again for spending some time with me and allowing me to share myself with you. Until next time, please be gentle with yourselves, be kind to animals, and do all you can to allow your authentic selves to shine brightly.